Do you wave your terrible towel when Renegade plays? Reach for a tasty cake when JJ shouts, "He scores!" Does the sound of an F1 engine make your heart race? Doing push-ups with a Nittany Lion after a TD? Then lend us an ear, and we will share the exhilaration of Steelers football, the excitement of Flyers hockey, the nail-biting finishes of F1, and the pride when we yell, "We are Penn State." Welcome to the SteelFlyers Show, the strangest combination of sports fandom since pineapple was put on pizza.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the SteelFlyers Podcast with your host, SteelFlyers.
Thank you. That was the delightful and the lovely Ronies. And thank you for all checking us out and tuning us in. Really appreciate you being here. Big thanks to Spreaker for getting us out there to your ears and so that you can hear us. Thank you very much for all the work that they do in getting us out to all the podcasting platforms. By the way, all you have to do is go out there to your favorite podcasting platform, from Spotify to Google to Amazon to iHeart, and type in SteelFlyers Podcast. Give us a 5-star rating. That helps us get us rated and helps you get notified about latest episodes. So thank you very much for checking that out. And thank you, Ronice, for joining us.
Thank you for having me here.
Always, always, always a pleasure. Folks, here we go. Season 2, episode 31. And can we stop this so I can get off this ride? I'm almost beside myself with
confusion.
That's a good way to put it, because in one breath I've got some really good positive things going, and then in another breath, not so very good things, positive in nature. Right?
Yes.
Okay. Look, let's just get this kitty out of the bag while we're here. We're talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers right now, and we finally got rid of Matt Canada.
Yay!
Which, that should have happened a year ago, to be honest with you. I really felt that he was way over his head in what he was doing. The fact that, in spite of however many years he coached, he never spent any time on the field during the games.
Except for the last couple.
Except for the last 2 or 3 games that he actually coached the Pittsburgh Steelers. Anyway. And what's really funny, though, is that the game after he started, the Steelers go out and
had an amazing game.
Yeah, I mean, like they just run up and down on Cincinnati, 421 yards.
We had 400 yards the first time in, years.
52 games, as a matter of fact. That's a couple of seasons, ain't it?
Yeah.
Right? 52 games. That's a lot of time passed since we had a 200-yard passer, a 100-yard rusher, 99, and a 100-yard receiver in one game.
Then
the
next week, the real team showed up.
Okay, so this past game, the Steelers get to face off against the lowly Cardinals,
who are
2-10. Now, I don't know about y'all, but it just seems like, as far as I'm concerned, this is a serious trap game, because it's James Conner coming back home, and the first thing out of Mike Tomlin's mouth in his press conference was, well, we all know about James Conner. We can't let James do things that James does. Well, guess what, Mike? You let him do the things that he does. He had 106 yards on 25 carries and 2 touchdowns. What were you trying to say there, Mike? You mean you were saying you were not going to let James Conner do James Conner things? Huh? The guy lights you up.
He did.
Excuse me? Did I see or hear something wrong on that? I mean...
Yeah.
Didn't you say that you were supposed to... Look, I understand this game was massively delayed by the rain and the weather, and then, to rub salt in the wound, Kenny Pickett gets injured trying to run the ball with no chance of making it for a first down or touchdown, or I think he was going for the touchdown, and he smacked his head on the turf, and now he's out for the next 4 weeks. He had ankle surgery. They did the surgery to help facilitate healing faster. Tua Tagovailoa had this same surgery done when he was in Alabama.
Okay.
That was a couple of years ago. It's a high ankle sprain, so they did the surgery to kind of help it along so he could heal faster and get back on the field quicker. And he'll only, quote-unquote, miss 4 weeks. T.J. Watt will probably play in the Thursday night game against the Patriots.
That seems awfully fast.
It does, but he will. Minkah Fitzpatrick has a broken hand, so not sure how that's going to work.
He just came back.
He's been back 2 games now from his previous injury, and now he's back, and now he's back out again with a broken hand. Hey, you know what, man? Wrap that sucker up and play with a club. What? Look, I don't need you catching the ball. I just need you knocking it away. Use that club as a ball knocker and knock that ball away. Well, I don't care. What? Do it.
I don't think that's legal.
It's not, but we've seen guys play with broken hands and fingers and wrists and everything else like that. So tape him up and get him out there because we need his legs and his mind and what he can do elsewhere.
Okay, but that's not fair to say that he has to play with a broken hand.
I know.
We don't condone that.
No, not at all. And more than likely, if he would want to go, I'm sure that they would accommodate him to a certain extent.
Right.
I mean, you can put... I've seen guys do it.
I know. It's possible, depending on how broken it is.
Or whatever.
Where the location and...
Exactly. So that's what I mean. If he's capable of going, I'm pretty sure he will be out there. So we're hoping that he is. But I got a dome scratcher on this, man. Matt Canada had to go, and frankly, I think there's other things that need to be changing. I think the winds of change need to come into the lands of Pittsburgh, and they need to land right there at the UPMC Center in Pittsburgh, and a new voice needs to ring out.
Okay.
I'm just calling it like I see it. I'm really seriously that 4 games now with Mitch Trubisky at quarterback. Boy, doesn't that just give you the warm and fuzzies?
No, not at all.
But let me just throw something at you.
Itchy spikies?
Yeah, cold and sharps.
Cold and sharps, that's it.
But let me throw something at you, right? I think he's played a total of 1 whole game, totally, of game action that Trubisky, because he came in that 1 game for...
This year?
Yeah, this year, right? This whole year. He has almost as many touchdowns as Kenny Pickett does for the whole year. He threw a touchdown pass in that game. He was 11 for 17 for 170, 180 some yards. Right? In the game. Right? With no interceptions and...
Right.
How is it that the backup quarterback can find guys to throw for a touchdown and Kenny Pickett can't?
Okay. Here's my thought on Kenny Pickett. There's been a lot of pressure on him. More than, I think, any rookie quarterback in a while.
He's not a rookie.
Okay. He is a rookie.
No, he isn't. This is his 2nd year.
Technically, but how many games was he out the first time? The first season he was...
He didn't even get to start for the first 4 games because they had Trubisky in.
Right.
That doesn't mean that he wasn't capable of playing. The issue is, I think, is this. We've seen enough of footage on him. Now, granted, there's been... You kind of have to take that with some grain of salt because... Obviously, Matt Canada was not helping Kenny Pickett at all, was not using Kenny Pickett to his strengths.
Right. So, he's had we're going to call it a really bad upbringing in the NFL.
I would go along with that. I would say that's a pretty darn good assessment of that.
He needs some more consistency in some good leadership and some good coaching.
How about that? Did you hear that, folks? Ronice preaching it.
Now, does that mean he'll be better? I'm not sure he's going to be that, like... He's not going to be Ben. We already know that, right? We know he's not going to have a career like Ben. But
Well, let's say this, okay? I'm willing to give the kid another opportunity. The reason why I'm saying that is because of he really doesn't have a consistent offensive line. I saw things in that game that I don't think I've ever... Look, I played for over 10 years, from Pee-wee all the way up to high school, okay? Mm-hmm. And in that time, okay, when I was a kid, basically equipment running around on the field, that's the only time I saw the same color jerseys running into each other.
Yeah.
Okay, right? You get where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
You're only equipment running around at that point. You can barely see over your shoulder pads. I mean, right. You know what I mean, right?
Yep.
Okay, so...
You'd think by the NFL they'd know better.
You'd think. I mean, these are highly educated professional men playing line. In all of my years, the only time I saw worse snaps from the center was from Pouncey. When he was just tossing them up way up over their head, like, what the heck are you doing, boy? The center, like, that's not even part of his train of thought. I mean, the whole time I played football, the whole 10 years that I played football, the position that I played was center. Okay? My number, the reason why it's called SteelFlyers 52 is because my number was 52 after Mike Webster, who was the Hall of Fame center for the Pittsburgh Steelers, whom was my hero and idol. So, the center's job is to hike the ball to the quarterback.
You had one job.
You had right, yeah. You had one job. One job. Hike the ball to the quarterback. Please, can we stop this crazy freaking thing?
Okay, so I have a question for you.
Oh my God. Oh, wait. Hold on before you get to your... Here's the best thing. Mitchell Trubisky now is going to play for the Steelers, and the first game is Thursday night against the Patriots, who stink. They're 2-10. Oh my gosh. We're going to get killed. Well, what's your question?
Okay, so yours is going to set you off on another rant. So, we saw in this game, the young man was in the end zone, caught the ball, stepped twice, and dropped the ball after he made the touchdown. And they gave it to him. The week before, the young man caught the ball, took 2 steps.
Hit the ground, came out.
Right. Same, I mean, literally almost in the exact same spot in the end zone.
Right. Now.
Why is one a touchdown and the other isn't?
Because Mike Tomlin didn't challenge the call that would have forced them to look at that play again. Whereas the other one was, I believe at the end of the game or within the last 2 minutes. So within the last 2 minutes, any scorers are automatically...
No, this was the first half. This was the first half of the game.
No, it wasn't. It was at the end of the half.
Yeah, the end of the half.
No, so it was in the last 2 minutes of the game, so all scores are reviewed in the last 2 minutes automatically.
Oh, okay, I didn't know.
Right?
That.
So the play the previous week was the end of the first quarter, not in the last 2 minutes of the game. Same circumstance, almost verbatim, exactly what happened. 2 steps, hit the ground, ball comes out. They looked at the replay against the Cardinals. They gave them the touchdown. They didn't have to look at the play. Mike Tomlin didn't challenge them. Therefore, that did not count as a score.
It just seems unfair that it's that...
It's not unfair.
Arbitrary.
It's not unfair. It's the fact that if Tomlin would have challenged...
Yeah, I get you what you're saying.
Right?
Right.
Okay, if he would have challenged, then that would have been that. And all I heard out of Pittsburgh was,
crickets.
Well, we have people checking that and spotting that. Well, what were they looking at that particular moment? Clearly, they weren't looking at their monitors or recording or whatever they're supposed to be doing. You had one job.
Yeah, it's another one. You had one job.
I mean, you know, there's too many things that are continually, it's like after 17 years, I have heard enough. Okay? This is December, and you're facing a slate of games that you could win so you could be in the playoffs and be somebody in the playoffs. And what are you doing? Cardinals? Nah. We don't need that.
Oh, boy. It's a good thing there's only a couple of games left.
I mean, this has to... Okay. The defense has not been able to do... It was the whole bend but don't break. Well, they're broken.
Well, they've been used a lot this year.
And they're pretty beat up. And this is the thing that killed me throughout the whole entire game, was listening to the commentators saying how, Pittsburgh on defense has been pretty pretty good as far as injuries are concerned this year. Like, dude, how many games did Cam Hayward miss? How many games has Minka Fitzpatrick missed? We got 2, 3 linebackers on IR in consecutive weeks? What do you mean we've been okay, or Pittsburgh hasn't had any issues with injuries on the defense? Okay. So something needs to happen here all the way around. There's too many things happening and not enough accountability. And I think this sadly that the accountability has to rest with the top. I mean,
yeah.
You don't walk into that building and see, Coach of the Year titles.
No.
Do you?
No.
No. You see Lombardi's. Okay? So the same thing falls back on you, Mike. You made that statement, you don't see rushing titles in that office. You see Lombardi's. Well, you don't see Coach of the Year trophies in there either, Mike. You see Lombardi's. Okay? So in December, you need to be winning ball so that you can have a chance to put one of those in the front office there. Okay? And you have failed miserably the last many years. Okay? So that's where I'm at with that. So let's talk about something that's a lot more positive.
Not so rage-inducing?
There you go. That's a good way to put it. How about them Flyers?
Hey, we beat the Penguins twice.
Home and home series with the Philadelphia Flyers. They're at the quarter mark here, and we're gonna do a little breakdown of them their Flyers, because you know how we like them Flyers. And man, I'll tell you what, we got to do a great show the other night with Isaiah on the Hockey Writers Inc. Lance and I got to do a great show with Isaiah. He's the host of O&B Puck. Got to go check them out, O&B Puckcast. Go check them out on Spotify. They're also out there all over the web, all over Twitter. Go to our YouTube channel and check out all the links to get with them guys. But we had Isaiah on the show. We had the quarter season mark review there of the Flyers, and it was really, really great episode. Isaiah is a great guy, and a lot of respect for what.
It was a good show.
Yeah, it was a good show. It was a really good show. Lance and I are very much respectful of what he does, and so Lance was like on point, on form. It's like, man, I work with professionals. It's all right, cool. So how about them Flyers beat the Pens at home and home, both in overtime. We didn't. The second game didn't go to a shootout, but it did go into the waning moments of the 3-on-3.
Right. We won a shootout against the Penguins.
I know, right? Like, wait a minute. Hold on. See, like, I'm going to tell you folks, I was wrestling with the title of this show, and I actually typed in the Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
Because it does feel kind of like the Twilight Zone. Like, we beat the Penguins? Like, wait a minute. What? In a shootout? What? Okay, hey, man. We'll take it. We'll take it all day long. And that actually keeps the Flyers ahead of the Penguins in the standings.
Wow.
I mean, they're 6th, we're 5th.
But we're ahead.
We're ahead of them, so, look, it's like the Steelers. There's certain games on the calendar that you circle that I don't care if the Flyers lose out every single game, as long as you beat, like, the Penguins, and the Capitals. Maybe once or twice.
I mean, the Rangers would be nice.
Once or twice, come on, just, yeah. Hey, look, I can dream. Anyway. But hey, look, compared to last year playing against the Penguins,
yeah,
that's night and day.
Yeah.
It was much more competitive games.
Like, they were really
close, tight.
Yeah, they were really aggressive. They were down on the other end for a while, like for more than, a brief moment.
That loud thump you just heard was me falling over in faint. The Philadelphia Flyers down on the opposition end for extended periods of time. Here, let me help you up. Okay. Sadly, Noah Cates is now on the IR. He's down with a lower body injury. And that's a real shame, because he is a much-needed cog in the works. Young player, up-and-coming player, who everybody at the SteelFlyers All Sports Network feels is worthy of playing for the Flyers all day freaking long.
Yeah.
So he's out for 6 to 8 weeks. So that's gonna sting a little bit, but that means that now we finally don't get the yo-yos now, where we're gonna see more Frost and Brink. I mean, they were playing on the same line in the Pittsburgh game the other night. They were both on the same line, Frost and Brink.
And how did you think that went?
Well, we're forced to use Frost now because of Cates being out.
Right.
Okay. And so that kind of stings a little bit. So, here's how I look at it, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Here is yet again another opportunity for you to try and break something, do something, be something.
Here's your chance.
Here's your chance again. Right? So what are you going to do with it? Here you are, what are you going to do with it?
Right.
Right? Show me something, kid. Again, show me something. Again. Right? Can you be that guy? Can you finish? Right? I don't care if you're setting guys up. That couldas, shouldas, and wouldas don't put pucks in the net.
Right.
Be the guy. Put the puck in the net. Don't set guys up. Be the guy. Put the puck in the net.
Right, you said that.
I just, hey, take it upon yourself to try to make something. Because I think that's really the only way that Frost is gonna do it, and I think that's what Tortorella wants from him. Be yourself and go out there and just do it.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Here's every opportunity on the planet. Brink, love his game. Love what he brings to the table. Is he young and is he still kind of in the NCAA mode where, they don't play nearly as many games and, we see how their schedule is, right?
Right.
They play 3 games and then they're off for, a week. And then they play 3 games and then they're off, But so that's kind of the thing. So I think that's one of the reasons why Brink was going in and out of the lineup, was to try to give him some rest. I mean, I think Tortorella addressed that in numerous press conferences that I've heard him say.
They don't want to overwhelm him at the beginning.
Exactly. And so I'm okay with that. And, look, frankly, I've also been impressed with Sam Ersson. Had a shutout. He's looked really, really well. He has really come into form. I am really liking his play. He's playing with a lot of juice, And hey, how about that Tyson Forster kid? Oh, snappity, snap. Yeah, I love what this look. Lance and I were talking about this kid right when the draft was happening for him.
Yeah.
We were looking at this kid probably 6 months before.
Okay.
And looking at him going, wow, boy, wouldn't that be nice if we could get this kid? Oh, he's got an NHL shot already. Right? So, here he is.
Right.
He's done everything right. Tortorella has said he's done everything that he's been asked. He's done those little things. And now the patience and all that other stuff is starting to pay off, where he's starting to get the goals and he's starting to get the points.
Right.
And he's getting those moments now.
Right.
Been really impressed with that as well, too. Look, the Flyers have been good in some areas. The penalty kill has been
awful.
No, the penalty kill.
Oh, I'm sorry, the penalty.
The PK.
Yeah.
I mean, the Flyers have a lot of shorthanded goals this year, but they've really been good. They haven't allowed a lot of goals recently, so that's been good. They did not allow a single goal from the Pittsburgh Penguins in both of those games. So, I'll take that all day. Now, granted, the Penguins are on a 0-31 streak right now. I mean, they're about...
No, they are in 7th place. Right?
What? They're in 6th place.
Oh, they're in 6th. We're in 5th.
We're in 5th. They're in 6th.
Okay.
But you would think that with Letang and Malkin and Crosby and Carter and...
They're getting old.
But you would think with those guys on their team that they would have a smacking good power play. But speaking of having a smacking good power play, well, we're not going to talk about the Flyers when we're going to talk about that. Because they're pert near as bad.
Yeah, our power play is horrible.
No, our power play sucks. Okay? There. I said it. Okay? In fact, our power play is completely and utterly unacceptable. It just is.
It's holding us back. I mean, if we had a decent power play, we would be so much better.
Well, I can tell you right now that...
It would give us that momentum. It would give us the confidence. It would move things forward.
It would have probably resulted in more wins.
Yeah, exactly.
Because when you're in tight games, 3-2, 2-1, and it's winding down to the game, and you get a power play, and you get an opportunity, like the game against the New York Rangers. They probably could have won that game if they would have scored on any 6 of their 0 power plays that they got. I mean, they had 6 opportunities, full-on 2-minute power plays that just resulted in nothing. I mean, if you would have scored 1 goal or 2 goals out of those 6 chances, that would have tied it up. That would have been a whole different game.
Right, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
I mean...
Not being able to do that is also frustrating for the players. So then they get focused on that, which, I'm thinking is not good for the rest of their game because they're so frustrated with the power play. Does that make sense?
It can, but I'm going to attribute it to... And maybe this might be what's going on in Pittsburgh. I don't know, but let me say this. We had an opportunity where we could have hired Mark Recchi, who throughout his career, I mean, he's a Hall of Famer. He's got his name on the cup. That guy is a power play specialist. Almost 40% of his goals are from the power play. A good portion of his points are from being on the power play. So, I mean, he would have been great to have on to coach the power play. Instead, we got a guy who had 24 NHL games total and has more PIMs than he has time on the ice in those 24 games. And not a single minute of that time was on the power play.
Okay, but you don't necessarily need to play on the power play to coach power play. Or do you think you absolutely should have that? Why is that?
Well,
I mean, there's coaches that, Mike Tomlin is a defensive coach, but he still coaches an offense. So I'm just wondering why that makes a difference.
If you're going to bring in a specialist coach, a specialist coach to coach the power play.
Yeah, I know. You don't have to...
You think that you would want to get an ex-player or somebody who has got a lot of experience in the power play. Meaning either they've been on the power play a lot, they've scored a lot on the power play.
I just wonder...
I mean, if you're going to bring in a player to have that position, wouldn't it make more sense to bring in a player who was really good at the power play when they played?
It could be.
I mean, the job that he was at previously, he was fired because he tried to fight with one of the players, and the San Jose Sharks power play percentage was not any better than what it is for the Flyers right now. And they were just as horrible and wretched on the power play in San Jose when he was coaching them there.
See, that would mean more to me than how he played. The fact that he was a terrible coach already and that he didn't have the track record that would justify hiring him. That doesn't make sense.
So that's what he was hired to do at San Jose, was coach the power play. So how do you bring in a guy who was basically a career fighter, enforcer? I mean, that's basically what he was. He like I said, he has more penalty minutes than he has ice time. He was one of those guys that they would line everybody up on the face-off, and the first thing he would do is drop gloves with the guy standing next to him. And then he'd be sitting for 5 minutes for his 5-minute major. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right? So, and he
wasn't part of the more finessing of part of the game.
Even setup of power plays, or how to set up a power play, or, I mean, look, it's not rocket science here, okay? You have one more guy than the opposition. You should be able to skate the puck into their zone with some relative capabilities of stopping at a point to where the rest of your teammates can all be in a position either an umbrella or one-man low or two-man low or, I mean, there's so many different multiple setups. You can do the delta. There's so many different setups that you could do for the power play that would either have guys in front, okay, which is usually the best thing,
right,
or have somebody that is capable of putting the puck into the net every single time they shoot it from, like Ovechkin. Ovechkin's office?
Yeah.
Right? Well, what do you think the percentage of Ovechkin scoring when he's in his office?
I have no idea.
It's pretty high.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, the reason why I'm saying that is because he's capable of, some accuracy.
Accuracy. Do you have some issues with that word?
No, I'm just enunciating it. So.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. I had to go there. I had to go there because it has to happen. And it goes back to the whole thing where why would you have a coach who never saw the power play, so how would you think it would... That doesn't make sense as far as I'm concerned. It just doesn't as far as I'm concerned. That's all.
Okay.
I think that you could even get maybe even an AHL coach to come in for the... I don't know. You never see consistently guys standing in front. You never see the guys skate the puck in. They are constantly... And this is what is the frustrating part about this, is that if you're going to play a dump and chase game, then you need to be able to have the speed and skill to outpace the opposition to the puck.
Right.
So, hence, if you dump it in and you chase after it, you win the battle to the chase.
Yep.
If you can't do that, then you shouldn't be dumping it in.
I was going to say, then you should not be doing that.
That message does not seem to ring true to the power play at all.
Mm-mm.
I am so not a fan of that. It's just... Why would you willingly give up possession of the puck when you are already a man up?
Hey, I don't know.
Do you know what I mean? Look, I'm not saying...
I've seen it being done with every coach, every team. I see it done a lot, and it doesn't make any sense to me at all.
But here's the thing. The good teams...
Yeah.
Right? The teams that win are the teams that skate the puck in and get set up. Those are the teams that win. Okay? Teams that dump and chase the puck in like that
don't win
as often.
Gotcha.
Okay? Statistically, historically, it's simple and basic. It's a numbers game. Why would you willingly give up? Look, I'm not saying that dump and chase isn't warranted at some different, some different points in time during the game.
Right.
There's just times and places for it.
Right.
Okay? I'm not saying that it's a bad move or anything else like that. Sometimes it's the only way you can get the puck into the zone so you can get a change, whatever. But at that point, you're not really dumping and chasing it. You're just dumping it and getting off.
Right, because you need a change.
Right, but I can understand why that is used as a way to get into the opponent's other end.
Okay.
I can absolutely understand it, and I can completely say, all right, sometimes there's a case and time when to use that.
Okay.
But as far as I'm concerned, it should not be part of the power play. It should not be part of the philosophy of the power play. where the first thing you do is get to your blue, red line and you're slinging the puck in and you're watching their team skate to the puck first before your guys are even at the blue line.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
Why are you shooting the puck in from that far out when they got two guys back, right?
Right.
And then all you do is watch them recover the puck, right? Or you see the goalie back there getting it back around the boards.
And tossing it to his guy.
And then they fling it. And before our guys are even into the zone, the puck is already going back the other way.
That doesn't make a lot of sense, does it?
Look, if you watch enough of the games and you watch enough of the tape, you'll be able to see this. It's clearly... I can't even begin to tell you how many times that happens. Every single time they have an opportunity for the power play, it happens so many times.
Look, and it's frustrating.
It is, because you know this team has some talent and some skill. But I think if they had some better coaching to get them out of that and say, hey, skate the puck in, things might change. So we'll see. Hopefully they can figure it out, because I know a lot of people are thinking now or potentially, look, at the beginning of the season, people were writing off, all the pundits were writing off the Flyers, and a couple of us were sitting back saying, you know what, this team isn't as bad as everybody thinks they are, and they're going to win some games. They're also going to lose some games.
Right.
Okay? Clearly, there's teams where you can see that the Flyers are outclassed. Okay? And that's just the way it is. We don't have that elite level talent on our ice yet.
Right.
Okay? And until we start seeing some of that, we're just going to be outclassed by certain teams who have that. And that's just the way it's going to be.
Well, yeah, that's how it,
right.
Some years are good, some years aren't so good.
And they've already come out and said that this is a rebuild. Now, I know that, quote unquote, it's been a rebuild for 5 years or whatever you want to call it. But they did come out and say it. But now they're also saying, too, that, look, we're trying to win games. I get that. But you also kind of have to look at the fact that you have, the 6th or 7th youngest team in the NHL right now with what you got on your roster. So I think it would behoove you to get as much time and experience with these young players now while you have the opportunity. While everybody's already written you off, and you give these young guys a chance to play and play together. When you lose together, you learn to win together.
Right. Bonding.
How about that? What do you know? All these young kids that are all playing coming up the same time. You know what I mean? Hey, what do you know? How about them Phantoms as well? In their first 21 games, they are at 10-8-3.
Wow, that's a pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, they're also in 5th place.
Imagine that.
Right, and here's the thing, though. Cal Peterson actually came up and played a stint with the Flyers there for a little bit and did really well, played really well, has gone back to the Phantoms then as well and played really well down there. Ali Lixell has been lights out. He's been the AHL Player of the Week a couple of times. He's been part of the 3 stars of the month. So if the Phantoms continue to put some wins together, they need to they need to play better against the teams like Hartford and the teams like Hershey. They need to beat those teams because those are the teams that are ahead of them.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? And they need to win those games. You know what I mean? So, but I'm looking forward to seeing what the Phantoms are going to continue to do this year. They got 51 games left. There's still a young season, and there's some talent down there as well. So I would like to see how that's going to go for the Phantoms. We're really liking what's going on down there, so we'll see how that works for them. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm hoping they'll have another good season.
I mean, last year they made the playoffs. I mean, they lost in the playoffs, but they still made it.
But they still made the playoffs.
Which is more than what we can say for the Flyers.
Yeah. They did not make the
Right.
playoffs.
Right. They did not make the playoffs. So, Anyway, so, with that being said, we're going to say a couple little things here. And there's one thing I would like to talk about, and that is the Nittany Lions. They finish ranked 10th in the land.
Which is where they started, ironically.
Yeah. I think that's where they started.
Yep.
10th, right?
Yep.
Okay. So they're that's where they finished. It's been another successful season for James Franklin, and he's going to the Peach Bowl for the first time ever in the university's history, and
You're not as
number
excited.
10 is Penn State is playing number 11 Ole Miss in the Peach Bowl.
Well, if you can't even get into the playoffs having a perfect season, what do you expect Penn State to do? Stop.
Can we stop this ride so I can...
Look at it this way. They had a winning season.
Yep.
They only lost...
bowl game.
Went to a bowl game.
Yeah, they only lost 2 games.
3.
Yeah, you know what? The 2 games that they needed to win, they couldn't. Again. James Franklin failed again to beat Michigan or Ohio State in the same season. You actually had a chance to beat Ohio State this year. Prime time. Whiteout. And you. Yeah. What is it, 10-2 they finished?
Yes.
Right? Wow, that's great. 10-2. So, if they would have beat Ohio State,
Yeah.
or better yet, if they would have beat Michigan, they could have beat Michigan. I mean, they really could have, but the the fact that James Franklin doesn't know how to coach a football game.
Okay.
And then they fired their offensive coordinator.
Yeah, that was weird.
Right? And so now we got Andy...
No, it wasn't weird that they fired him. It's the timing was weird.
Yeah. Right? So now they got Andy Kotelnicki?
Okay.
Kotelnicki? Andy from Kansas? Woo! Boy, that's tougher than some of the hockey names that I've seen.
Yeah.
Kotelnicki. 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 Anyway, he's going to be the offensive coordinator, and I think he's going to coach for the Peach Bowl game, because that's a January 1st game.
So he should be in... Stop.
The reason why I'm doing that is because it doesn't really matter. None of this matters. Big deal. Okay?
It is to the players. It's a big deal to their family. I mean, I know it sucks.
Okay. The reason why I'm so disjointed about this whole thing and why I feel like I do is because the only way that
Penn State is going to get to any kind of relevance is if they win those games and make it into the playoffs at least one bloody time. Everybody else from the Big Ten, Ohio State, Michigan, I think Wisconsin, Ohio, Iowa even maybe has even made it to the playoffs. What? Right? Win the games you're supposed to win. Okay? That's all I'm saying, right? That's all I'm saying. You had two of some of the best running backs in the country. Okay? You had one of the top receivers in the country. You're great at recruiting, but
you're not playing your players well?
I didn't say a word. How's that for you, folks? I didn't even have to say it. One thing I can say is that Chop Robinson is going to declare for the NFL draft and will not play in the Peach Bowl.
Can I say something else positive about Penn State? Well, maybe not positive, but
look, it's great that they won. It's great that they're 10-2. It's great to be able to look down and say we had a winning season. We went to the Peach Bowl. It's awesome. It's exciting. I'm not taking anything away from that. I'm really not. Okay? But if that's all you guys want to do, then cool, you made it. You're at the top of the mountain. But that can't be the end goal, right? The end goal is supposed to get that glass football at the end, right? That national championship.
Okay, can I say something?
Yeah.
You can play all the games and win all the games, but they're not the ones determining that fate. There is a whole committee of people that decide.
Oh, and not only is there a committee, but there's also a computer.
Right. And so, like what's going on with Florida. They won all their games, they had a perfect record, and they were not selected.
The reason why Florida State was not selected, and it stinks for them guys, because them guys won all their games and they played their heart out. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
But here's the problem, right? Number 7, Alabama, beat number 1, Georgia.
Okay.
Okay? Number 2, Alabama had a harder schedule than Florida State did. Everybody, in fact, 55 teams had a harder schedule than Florida State did this year. So, yeah, you better win all of them. Does that make sense?
I don't understand the college playoff situation. I don't think anybody really does.
If you have to win all your games to be considered, could you imagine if Penn State would have won all their games? That means they would have gone to the Big Ten championship game to play whoever number 2 was.
Right.
And they get a shot at the dance. The winner of the SEC championship games get a shot at the dance. That's just how it's set up. So,
just give me a shot, Coach.
That's all I need. And the only way to do that, James Franklin, is to win the games you're supposed to win, James Franklin, against Michigan, against Ohio State. If they're on the schedule every year, and you can tell, man, Michigan and Ohio State, look down there and see Penn State on the schedule and go, yeah, buddy, we going in there and kicking some butt. Tell me it hasn't been that way.
Yeah.
Okay? That first game that he won against Ohio State was like his second year. He hasn't done anything since then. And they said, oh, James Franklin can beat Ohio State once. I'm just calling it like a look. Y'all know here at SteelFlyers, we don't pull any punches, do we?
No, we don't.
Nope. Well, what do you think, Ronice? We put another good one together here?
I think you have vented your spleen.
I think so, too. Do I feel better? Probably. Is it going to help us?
No.
Probably not.
It's going to help me because you won't be as cranky.
Well, anyway. So, on that note, how about them Flyers still winning? Gosh, Pittsburgh is in control of their own destiny, and
not for long.
And if as long as they win, then Kenny Pickett will come back after 4 weeks and be like, "Man, what happened? I was gone for 4 weeks, and this is what's left." Anyway. All right, folks. Well, thank you very much for checking us out. Thanks for tuning in. Just remember to say thank you to Spreaker for all their help in getting us out to all the podcasting platforms out there, such as Amazon, Google, iHeart, and Apple. Just remember, type in SteelFlyers in any one of your podcasting platforms. We will come up. Give us a 5-star rating if you like us. That'll help us get us rated. Thank you very much for checking us out. Thank you, Ronies.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for listening. Just remember, folks, stay safe, stay strong, and hang tough.